So in this video, we'll first create a resource group with PowerShell. So create a resource group with PowerShell, and then we'll also create a storage account with PowerShell. In the previous video, we're doing everything with graphical user interface, and now we're learning to do with PowerShell. Now, if you notice this hash or a pound sign means it's a comment. So when you execute the script, this line number 1 and number 2 will not be executed. This is just for your references. So you can put your reference like that. Say author is Anand. Uh, Creation date is whatever. So today is 15, whatever, uh, 2019. Yeah. So you can put your own comments like that. Now, first step that we to create a resource group is to use PowerShell command called new-az resource group. Just say new-az resource group, right? I'm using tab completion so that there are no errors or any typographical errors in the script, right? So it's new-az resource group. Then I will say -name. What is the name of my resource group? The name of my resource group is, let's say, payroll. Let's call it as payroll. And the location in which I want to create it is West US. I'm just saying West US here. Now, I could have put these objects inside a variable, right? So I could have just said $location equals West US and put that in double quotes. Yeah. And then I can also say $region resource group name equals payroll. When I do that, I really do not have to use these names like that. I can say $resource group name and then $location name, right? So the values of the resource group name and the location will be picked up from line number 7 and line number 8 respectively. So when the script executes, line number 9 will look at line number 7 and 8 to put those values here because they have already been declared in line number 7 and 8. Let's execute this and see what happens. I will run this. Line number 1 all the way through line number 9 have been executed. Now it looks like the resource group is created. Now if I do get-az resource group, let's say tab completion and see what happens. Resource group, and then this time I do not want to hit this button, this play button. Instead, I will use F8 or run current selection. So when I click on this one or hit F8 on the keyboard, it will just execute line number 12 and not line number 1 through 12. If I hit this, which is F5 on the keyboard, it will execute all the lines from 1 through 12. Now I'll just hit this to see the resource groups I have. The one of them that's created is resource group called as payroll. Just looking for that. Yeah, right here. The resource group called payroll is here. So it got created successfully. Next step, what we're going to do is to create a storage account with the same theory. I'll use $storage account name. So I'm declaring that first. And the storage account name is called as new storage account. Good. What is the command to create a new storage account? The command to create a new storage account is new-az storage account. Look at the IntelliSense. It automatically pops up the possibilities of or the permutations and combinations of this string being inside the commandlet. Okay, so it's new storage account. New-az storage account, and this time I want to name the storage account as it's already declared in line 14, which is the storage account name. So I'll say storage account name. I want to put that in the location called, well, I have the location in line number 7, so I will use $location here, right? There were other parameters that we looked at when we were creating the storage account using GUI. Some of them were performance tier options, kind of storage is it? Is it storage account V2, V1, or a blob storage? Do you want Premier, or what kind of replication do you want? LRS or GRS? Well, those are all the syntaxes that you must punch in before we complete this command. So, starting with SKU. SKU is the kind of replication you want. Well, I will select premium underscore LRS. Then I can also say, well, the resource group name. I can put the resource group name as, well, it's already there. Is it somewhere on the top? Well, the resource group name is right here, $RG name. So, okay, I'll use the same variable. Storage account V2, right? Now let's execute line 16 and see what happens. I'll hit F8 on the keyboard. Well, I got an error message. Let's see what the error message is. Cannot validate parameter name. Argument is null or empty. Well, I think we already have name here. Like that name is new storage account. Well, this is, let's put 123 next to it and see what happens. Okay. Okay, so a few things have been cleared up. I did not execute line number 14 earlier, and there was no value inside this particular attribute. So if you look at this, when I'm executing just this part, there is no value inside it. So after executing line number 14, now I could see the value in it. Let's run line number 16 again and see what happens. There you go. Got an error one more time. The storage account name is already taken. So I will change it to something else. It just says that storage account name 123 is already taken by some other subscription. So I will change it to 3108 or whatever. Yeah. And then execute line 14 first and then line 16. Let's see. Looks like this is creating. So if there was an error, it would have populated by now. Okay, looks like my storage account is created. So let's try to do some get operations. So it's a get hyphen AZ storage account. And then we see that the storage account called new storage account 3108 is created under payroll. Let's go to the GUI and see if the storage account is there. There you go. So go back to storage accounts here. There you go. Information hosting was something that we created earlier when creating storage account using GUI, and now we have another storage account called 3108 as well. So everything that can be done with graphical user interface can be done with PowerShell. But today in PowerShell we learned number one, how to comment in your script, second, how to declare variables, and also how to troubleshoot few minor errors that we got when executing new-az storage account. In the next video, let's try to create a storage account with Azure CLI.